Good afternoon and welcome to CanadianAgMarkets.com. My name is Brian Como. I'm with Ireland Como Lavoy. Today we have a special guest on the program for you. We are going to bring on Tyson Fehr from Prairie Premium Products to talk a little bit about flax. But first, we're going to go through what we normally do, what happened in markets today, a little bit of crop condition ratings stuff, and some weather information. And then we'll bring Tyson on. So let's get started with what happened in markets today. Canola was essentially unchanged, settled yesterday at 716, settled today at 715.10. It's a small decline day over day. Minneapolis wheat fell a little bit, 2 3/4 to 604.25. Kansas wheat fell half a cent to 540. Chicago wheat fell 4 3/4 to 544 and a half. Soybeans gained 4 3/4 to 1067 and a half. Corn was up about 2 cents to 463. The Canadian dollar is trading at about 72 or just above 72, which is almost unchanged, 72.14. Cattle saw a bit of a surge today. Hasn't made back the losses that it's witnessed over the last couple of weeks, but we did see cattle up, live cattle up 147 to 210 and a half, and feeder cattle up 335, getting it back almost to the $3 mark at 299.78. All right, we're going to go a little bit in depth here into the Saskatchewan crop report. Seeding progress is going very well. As you can see, some of the majors here: barley 71% planted, canola 58% planted, durum almost 87% planted, field peas 92, lots of hundreds in that one. Lentils as well, high 90s. Oats, just above 55%. And spring wheat is knocking it out at 80.5% or so. Just to kind of give you some historical context as to where Saskatchewan is as far as seeding progress versus last year. Big improvement from last year, or a much faster pace than last year. 72% of the crop is planted in Saskatchewan at this time versus 56% last year. We did see 68% in 2023 and 74% in 2021. So it's not like this is out of the realm of normal, but still a good progress overall. Just diving into some of the specifics now. The Southwest is definitely taking home the crown as being the winner in the seeding department. We've got 92% of the canola seeded in the Southwest, and the West Central 75%. It kind of goes down from there. The eastern parts of the province, which were wetter, are seeing a little bit more of a delay. What are some other commodities we have here? Spring wheat, Northeast 95%, or just under 95%. But here, the Southwest actually has done a good job at 94, 95% as well. They may have gotten out before the rains. Some the Northwest corner of the province as well is doing good. So overall, spring wheat in good shape as well. Durham's interesting. I put this up here before I put the percentages up here because I just wanted to show that in the East Central region, it looks like seeding progress went down week over week. But even in that one, it's over 75% of the Durham is seeded there. Again, the Southwest, which produces most of the Durham, or precedes most of the Durham, is almost 95%, making the provincial 86%. What else do I got here? Field peas in good shape, almost 100% in the north part of the province, which is where we've seen the driest conditions. Southwest is also in good shape. Everybody here is in good shape. The peas are almost done. It is usually one of the earliest crops seeded. As far as topsoil moisture here, I got a couple of graphs here. As far as adequacy goes, anywhere in this 70 to and above area in the adequate is good. As you can see here, that encompasses a lot of the province here. If you average these out, it's these two areas of the province, the Northeast and the Northwest, that are void of adequate moisture overall. So those are the areas that we continue to watch, and the ones that show up as kind of red on the maps and things like that. Here's just a long-term soil moisture adequacy. This is the whole province. As you can see, the last couple of weeks has actually gotten a little bit better. More has moved into adequate and less into short. This is still, below that of last year, as you can see, but kind of in line with some of the other years that we've seen here. This is more of a historical. If we kind of pull it forward a little bit, here's those 2 weeks that we've seen some rains and have helped the adequacy overall in the province. Before we were kind of leading into it was kind of getting shorter, as you can see here, the rising yellow bar, but that has diminished in the last couple of weeks. Again, we're not anywhere near where we were last year for soil moisture, but still, improving conditions overall. Okay, switching the camera over to the US here. There's just a couple of things I wanted to point out. One of them was this is the change in drought conditions from week to week. Here is spring wheat from 38% down to 29%. So 9 percentage points of better drought conditions, improving drought conditions. You can see here the durum as well, 87 down to 79. And even the sunflowers here, I think, is worth looking at because 42 down to 21. I'm going to show you why that is. This is a 7-day observed accumulated precipitation that ended, May 20th. Look at this bullseye of precipitation that happened here in North Dakota, which also spilled into Montana, which produces a lot of durum and a lot of sunflowers. South Dakota, same kind of thing. Winter wheat also there, and it even spilled into the wheat growing areas of Minnesota, and of course that area of southeast Saskatchewan and southwest Manitoba got that rain as well. So this has really helped the spring wheat drought condition ratings in the U.S. Just to kind of show you what that looks like from a departure. So these dark areas here, this is 4.5 to 5 inches from departure from normal. So, in some cases you could say, sure, the drought conditions are alleviated, but the flood conditions are now affecting it, or there was too much moisture, which definitely could be an argument in those areas. So it is an area that we're keeping an eye on just to see how things shape up there. Corn, we just wanted to mention corn quickly. This is U.S. corn drought areas. There's really only one major problem left in the U.S. for corn drought, and that is in Nebraska. Now, Nebraska is a pretty big state. It produces 10% of the crop. It is 87% located in drought conditions. And as you can see, some of that is pretty severe, 46% in severe, and then another 5% in extreme drought. Total is 87%. It's by far the worst off state as far as corn goes. And they are known, that's the home of the corn huskers, is it not? They are known for their corn there. So it is an important state. We are keeping an eye on that there, but things are lightening up in some other areas of the continent as well. Here's the 5-day forecast for the central U.S. As you can see, we got some rain coming in into Kansas. This square looking state here is Kansas. Here's Nebraska. So we do have some rain coming into Nebraska. It might alleviate some of that dryness concern, but it doesn't look like there's a lot coming in there unless the system from South Dakota can push south into the corn growing areas of Nebraska more. But as you can see, there is a big system that's kind of moving here through the southeast part of Kansas and then into some of these other states, which are more maybe soybean states. Here's the river kind of follows here, which is, where a significant amount of soybeans are grown. So if this system can push into there, it might actually help out the soybean crop to some degree as well. Looking at Western Canada here, looks pretty dry. This is the 5-day forecast as well, going into May 27th. As you can see, there's light rain through some areas here of Alberta, but we're talking, these are millimeters here, 1.5, 1.25 to, so this is like 1/10 of an inch, 12. This is where the 1/2 inch mark comes in, and this is the full inch here at 25 millimeters. So not a lot of rain in Western Canada expected in the next 5 days. We do want you to subscribe to our insights. We put in a significant amount more work into our fundamental analysis, our technical analysis, our recommendations, and all of those things for our Western Canadian farmer customers. So we want you to subscribe to that. It's less than $1,200 a year. It works out to $1,188 a year at $99 a month. So make sure you click on that subscribe button, or it will be in the description below. Go to the description below, click on subscribe, and get all of our insights going forward from now. All right, without further ado, we're going to welcome Tyson Fehr to our program to talk a little bit about flax. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to CanadianAgMarkets.com. I have Tyson Fehr here with Prairie Premium Products, a flax, somebody who specializes in flax in Manitoba. How you doing today, Tyson?
Hey Brian, thanks for having me on. Doing great. Yeah, big fan of the show. Thanks for inviting me, and it's nice to see you again.
Yeah, we often get, you know, every so often we get a question about flax, and it's not something I can answer. So I'm really happy to have you on and talk about this. And also worth noting, I don't know how many years ago was it that we went golfing. We got to do that again. It's been a
Yeah, for
while.
sure. It's been a while since I've seen somebody hit the ball that deep into the bush, man.
Well, I was cheering for you, but you hit it there anyway. So it was.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to wear longer pants next
Yeah,
time.
if
Make
you go
sure that
into
it
the
ticks me
bush,
away.
you find balls. You come out like with more balls than what you went in with, I find.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
You go out, you hit a couple top flights in there, and you walk out with a couple Pro V ones, right? Return on
exactly.
investment, they say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Tyson, thanks for joining us. Prairie Premium Products, you guys, buy some good quality flax. You use it in a bunch of different applications. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Prairie Premium Products does?
Yeah, for sure. So the bulk of our business is dealing in flax seeds. It's our history, and it's what we've been doing for the history of the company here. We supply the human grade, pet grade, as well as feed grade markets in whole seed as well as milled products. We take the product directly from the farmer, clean it up, and we either sell it as whole or we put it through a grinding process, milling it up into the stuff you see on the shelves and selling to some of those companies, right? That you add to your yogurts and all that fun stuff, right? So yeah, that's the very broad view what we do, and then we do packaged goods as well as big bulk train cars and everything in between. So.
Nice. Your main facility is located at Portage la Prairie, Manitoba,
Yeah.
and you have a location at Bertle, Manitoba as well. But a lot of your business is trucked in from elsewhere as well, right? You do a lot of direct to farm business.
Yep, yeah, for sure. So yeah, our main packaging facility is out of Bagot, Manitoba, just outside of Portage la Prairie, like you had said, and then our main bulk facility is out of Bertle, so just kind of on the Saskatchewan Manitoba border there. And yeah, so most of what we do is actually on farm. So we have our own truck that's constantly running around the country, picking up from farm to farm, and bringing into our locations here. But then we do also have farmer deliveries direct as well.
Right on. So lots of choice.
You bet.
This uh, this market has been pretty interesting in the last couple of weeks. What what's happened with pricing? And maybe I'll throw up some charts here on the slides that I'm sharing just to talk about prices. So here's the Manitoba price in the last few weeks, and the Saskatchewan price showing some gains as well. What's driving pricing action currently?
Yeah, for sure. Especially over the last couple weeks here, we've seen a very sharp rise in pricing. And there's a couple different factors at play there. Um, so on a more localized level, it seems like there's some short covering that's been happening, and then we've also seen a very sharp rise in pricing at the EU port. So we've seen the pricing landed into places like Rotterdam um, that have really spiked as well. So Europe's been a pretty good driver of that as well. So there's a bit of a combination that's happening, and it's making almost a bit of a snowball effect, which has made prices escalate very high very quickly. So yeah, we have seen, prices off the farm in the last, call it 3 to 4 weeks, go from anywhere from around $20 a bushel to upwards of $25 a bushel off the farm, and happened very quickly, very aggressively, and And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this thing might potentially run out of steam and how long it may last. Um, but uh, but over the grand scheme of things, things are on the tighter side. Not even just in Canada, but globally, they are tighter. Um, Not empty, but tight and supportive anyway, for sure.
Mhm. What about new crop bids? So you're, 24, $25, and you were saying those were off farm earlier in our conversation, right?
Yeah.
What about new crop? Has there been price rising in new crop as well?
Yeah, so new crop hasn't moved nearly to the same extent as old crop has. It stayed pretty solid in the 17 to $18 range off farm throughout most of that rally. In the last couple days, we have seen the odd trade happen closer to the $21 off farm quick spike type thing as well. But that's been very recent, and the tonnage has been quite low on it right now. So,
Okay.
um, so yeah, it doesn't seem like that might necessarily be the true market positioning right now, but there are some trades that are happening at some of those higher new crop values as well.
Okay. As far as new crop goes, I'm going to back this up too. Actually, I think I have a seeded area. So here's a chart of seeded area. These are Statistics Canada's numbers.
Right.
And every time I show somebody this, they say your acres, the acres are way too low here. What So, Statistics Canada's March intentions reported 448,000. It's been declining significantly since the early 2020s. Um, but you think that this year there may be a bit of a reversal happening. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think when StatsCan originally posted the 448,000 acre, I believe that was closer to January when that original number came out, and I don't think they've updated it since. But there's been a lot that's happened in all markets since January. Nothing's been status quo, right? There's a lot of politics that have been played in and across multiple markets, and so say something like the Chinese tariff on canola had a big effect on this as well, where when that happened, we did see a lot of acre flush out of canola into substitutes like we saw with flax. So I think the industry is fairly confident in the number being on the low side of or having Stats Canada's number being on the low side of what expectation is. I think lots of the industry is penciling in more of a kind of 570,000 ish ballpark type number, which
Mhm.
is which is quite the difference
Yeah.
versus 448,000, right? Um, so I've heard guys penciling in as high as 610,000, which would be kind of right on par with the 2023 levels that you're seeing on your chart there.
Yep.
But then you have some that are closer to 552, right? So there's still quite the gap in trader expectation and in just what the industry is expecting. But the general consensus is quite a bit higher than the StatsCan numbers.
Right on. Um, yeah, as far as and demand, like so again, I just kind of plugged some numbers into this S&D using the Statistics Canada numbers. Um, are you thinking ending stocks are going to be relatively tight coming out of this 25-26 year? Do you think that that increase in acres will loosen up the S&D a little bit? Or is it kind of more status quo, 24, 25, 100,000 tons left over kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's actually a really big factor at play here in Europe for the 25-26 S&D, and that's the potential looming increase on the tariffs into Russia, right? So um, when the Russian-Ukrainian war, or due to the Russian-Ukrainian war, the EU slapped tariffs on Russian flaxseed at 10% until the end of 2024. And that up to, I believe, is 20% at the beginning January 1st of 2025. And if there's still not a ceasefire by the end of 2025, January 1st, 2026, that's set to raise to 50%. So that kind of chews off an entire leg of potential import for the European Union, which is going to force them um, to rely heavier on Canadian and Kazakhstan flaxseed imports there. So you could see quite the large increase in Canadian exports over there
To Europe.
if into Europe if some of these things don't pan out, right?
That's good news. That's good news.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for your time, Tyson. Where can people get a hold of you if they're looking to sell some flax to
So
the best processor out there?
yeah, for sure. For sure. So we can you can email me direct at Tyson at prairiepremiumproducts.com,
Okay,
or you can call our toll-free number here at 1-866-283-3331.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this today, and I think you gave a lot of folks some really good news about the flax market. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Tyson.
Have a good one.